beautiful human. I want to share with you today the biggest lesson, bar none, that I've learned in over $10 million in cash collected, 1,100 clients, 7 years in online business, around getting clients predictably, consistently, with ease, with flow. That's the key part. Getting to seven figures and not only getting there, but staying there. And it's this idea, this word that you and I have heard thrown around all over the place called authenticity. But I want to actually break it down for you. What does it mean for you to be more authentic in your content? How do you magnetically attract the right people to work with you? And the lesson stems from music. So I was sitting in Mexico last week for our Mexico intensive with our community and Inner Circle. We had people fly from all over the place. And we're sitting in a room and I said, right, everybody close your eyes. And I had a speaker next to me. And then I started putting on different musicians in different genres. And I started out with one of my all-time favorite bands, Under Oath. Now, you might not know who they are, and if you know who they are, maybe you don't like them, but I put them on, and I had everyone close their eyes, and I put them on for 30 seconds, and if you don't know who they are, they're like heavier style music. And then I said, okay, open your eyes. Describe to me the emotions or the things that came to mind as I played that music. And some people were like, oh my gosh, that was nostalgia. I love that. It took me back to my teenage years. And other people were like, oh my goodness, like when is this going to end, right? This is not my vibe. And then I went from there to like religious music. Did the same thing. All right, describe the emotions. Some people were like, oh my gosh, it felt like coming home. And other people were like, it felt a bit awkward. Then I put on some music from New Zealand, like in the native language of the Māori, Te Reo Māori. And I played that, and again, I was like, what do you guys think? What do you guys feel? What's coming up for you? And at the end of this, after doing 5 different songs, I asked everyone, what was the best song of the day? And of course, no one could agree because the best song doesn't exist. It's simply what's down to the person and their tastes to decide what was best or their most favorite. Why I'm bringing this up is because content operates the exact same way. Some people love Alex Hormozi and some people hate him. Some people love Gary Vee. Some people love these different creators, these different podcasts. Some people binge them. Some people completely ignore them. The point for us as creators who are putting out content to try and attract the right people is to stop trying to play a game that doesn't exist. We can't become better than anyone else. There's no such thing as the best content. So then the game we're playing is not of competition, but of authenticity and self-expression. And I want to walk you through the 4 key pillars that if you are struggling, you know your content is being ignored because you sound so similar to everyone else. Or maybe you're just struggling to find your authentic voice. And to be honest, like a little bit of you, a little bit of ChatGPT, kind of what comes out is some AI garbage. I want to walk you through the 4 key things. If you're wanting to attract high quality people with ease, where you're not liked by everyone, right? As if that can ever exist, but you're loved by a few people. You attract the right people, you repel the wrong people. I want to walk you through the 4 key areas to think about. So the most important part to start with is what I call your North Star. The North Star is the why behind everything that you're doing. Why are you putting out content? Why are you doing this offer? Why have you started this business? Of all of the options on the planet, why are you doing this here and now? And this is the number one thing that I think is lacking from most people's content. There's no vision, there's no mission, there's nothing, there's no story that people are being called into. And I want you for a second to think about your favorite creators. For many of them, there's some kind of story that you're being swept up in. The Hormozis are trying to become billionaires. Iman Ghazi trying to become a billionaire by 30. Mr. Beast trying to become the best YouTuber in the world. Now, all of those have one thing in common, which is it's quite competitive in nature. You don't have to have that calling, that mission, that vision that is about like climbing a tower, right? Climbing the ladder. But what you do need to have is something that people can feel in all of your content that is passion behind what you do. I hope that when you get my content, you might not like it, you might not love it, but it's probably hard to argue with that I really care about what I do. Or at least I hope that that's what you feel, because I do deeply care about what I do. When I shoot a video like this, I'm thinking about helping one person. I'm doing it because I love it. Your North Star is the passion barometer that people can sense of like, is this dude just trying to generate a lead right now? Is she just trying to sell an offer? Are they just trying to make money? Or is there something deeper that is moving them through this? Now, you might be a video editor, maybe you run a health coaching program, and chances are you're not looking at that offer and going, okay, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. And the good news is you don't have to. But what you do have to do is have a level of conviction and passion in what you're doing so that people feel it. Whether it's a big goal of I want to transform 1,000 people, or whether it's simply a commitment to the game of your offer, your practice, your art, your mastery. People have to feel a why behind the what. And so the question you have to ask yourself is, if people were to observe me over the last 60, 90 days of content, is there any sense that I'm here for any reason other than making money and generating leads? Do people understand that you went through a transformative period of your life that got you to care about this in the first place, right? They have to feel a level of conviction in everything you do in order to want to lean in. I'm not saying this is necessary to get clients. What I'm saying is this is necessary to get clients with ease. This is necessary to become an authority in your space. This first key of North Star is so easy to overlook, but this conviction, this passion is the thing that draws people to you. One of my favorite quotes by an old preacher by the name of John Wesley, he says, light yourself on fire with passion and people will come for miles to watch you burn. Number one, having a North Star. Number two, it's your ethos. So this is where we start to get even more pragmatic around the specificity of like, how does this express itself in content? Your ethos are your convictions. So it's not just being convicted in your offer, like what are your convictions? What are your beliefs? What are your values? These are the things where people start to get to know you. This is more of your personality, which obviously can include things like hobbies and tone of voice and how you express yourself. Are you super LinkedIn professional, or are you super crazy cowboy, Twitter dude, right? The point is that your ethos, what you believe, how you see the world, what you stand for, those are the things that really start to connect with people on a deeper level. When you've ever heard a campaign from Russell Brunson talking about being one funnel away, I tend to believe that guy believes that. And he shares that message with all of his heart because that's a core conviction, because a funnel changed his life. The key thing with ethos is understanding if someone was to follow you online, how much of your beliefs, values, convictions are bleeding through what you do. I'll give you an example. I work 15 hours a week. I don't do sales calls. And when people come into my world, my conviction is not that they need to ditch sales calls or work 15 hours a week. My conviction is this: your business should be built around your life, not your life around your business. So you should build a life and business by design, not by default. That's a conviction that runs through my veins. And so when I create any piece of content, the thing that I come back to is like, guys, everything works, but not everything's going to work for you. Get clear on who you are and what you want and build a business that serves that. That's an example of a conviction. For you, the question is, what convictions or beliefs or values need to come through stronger in your content so that if someone was to meet the real life version of you and then compare it to the online version of you, there would not be a huge discrepancy, right? Like I had this feedback 18 months ago when I was at my Japan intensive for our community. And I asked people, I said, hey, I think we're doing a session similar to this. And I said, how do I compare to the online version of myself? And some people were like, oh my gosh, you're exactly the same. And I was like, oh, thank you, thank you, thank you. But one person said something really great. They said, you're way more fun in real life. And I so deeply appreciated that content because, that feedback, because I felt like my content had been so deeply serious. And I don't know if I was playing a character and I was unaware of it, but the point is that feedback allowed me to close that gap between real life and online. For you, you have to ask yourself the question, how big is that gap? What hot takes or controversial opinions or convictions am I withholding because I don't want to rock the boat? But the challenge is, just like that music example I shared earlier, the most powerful art rocks the boat. The most powerful art polarizes. The most powerful content attracts people to you and repels people away from you. And that's the kind of content that gets you clients with ease. And it's the kind of content that helps you build real authority in your market, get to 7 figures, and stay there. Number 3 is your big ideas. You can call this a unique mechanism, a model. The key is this. If someone was to follow you and you're talking about like, you're here, you're struggling to get leads or you're struggling to lose weight, and I'm going to help you lose weight, get leads, like get views, whatever it might be. We are very familiar with how that works in marketing, right? I'm going to help you get the awesome result. You're here, you want to get to here. Here's the biggest question most people have though. How? Like, how are you going to get me there? What's the gap between current situation and desired situation? How are you going to close that gap? And in the health and fitness space, obviously you've got diets and training modalities. And so before someone is ever going to sign up with you, they need to feel alignment and congruency between the method that you teach, right? You could be a weight loss coach and say, I'm going to help you lose 30 pounds in 30 days. And if you don't tell people what they're signing up for, and on the other side, you're like, hey, congratulations. We're just going to do a 30-day water fast. No one's going to disagree that that would probably work. The problem is most people do not feel a sense of pull towards that how. They do not feel a pull towards your mechanism. You have to get good at sharing your big ideas. How I think about this on a deeper level is, yes, there's like a I help blank to get awesome result with process, right? Automated group funnel, IG funnel, anabolic fasting, whatever it is. But I think it's deeper than this. I think it's like deeply rooted in this idea that we should all be evangelizing a message. It's almost like you're a leader trying to create disciples in a movement. And the question you have to ask yourself is, what is your gospel? What do you believe about how people are currently doing it and how that's wrong and how that's holding them back and how that's keeping them stuck? And how can you change the way that they think? Russell Brunson talks about this in his book, Expert Secrets, towards a new opportunity. Your big ideas are the things you become known for. So it's not just your convictions. Oh my gosh, Dan's so passionate, or he's so fun, or, no one's saying that. But you need to become known for big ideas, and you only become known for big ideas by clarifying what those ideas are, sharing them, iterating them, refining how you talk about them, and then being like a DJ, not changing the song, right, every single time someone comes to see you play, but remixing old songs. What I mean by that is repetition, consistency. You need to be showing up and sharing a message around what you believe is actually holding people back and how they could become successful using your method, your way, your model. I've become known for many things over the years. For the first few years of my business, I wasn't really known for anything. Then I doubled down on Facebook groups, and I found myself in this beautiful niche, and it was beautiful until it felt like a prison. But I made $4 million through Facebook groups, and I taught people how to do that. And I was the Facebook groups guy. And then I wanted to step away from that, and I started to build my business and my brand around different ideas that felt more in alignment for the season that I was in. The key for you is to understand that you do not have to marry any big ideas, but you do have to share the ones you currently believe. What is the process to help someone go from where they are to where they want to be, from pain to pleasure, from current to desired? You have to get good at articulating them so that people can feel a sense of resonance. Oh, this guy is speaking my language. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Or, and this is still part of the goal, repelling the wrong people. Like for me, when I'm telling people to work less, if they want to, right? But really just like dealing with the trauma, simplifying the business, that does not resonate with everyone. Not everyone actually wants to work less and make more money. Some people are addicted to the struggle. And so I simply repel those people. But for many of the right people, I attract them in. So the third thing is identifying and communicating your big ideas. And the fourth thing, which is the most important by far, is people sense your essence. You can be all here and you can communicate the right things. You can go, okay, here's my list of beliefs, my convictions. Here's my North Star. I'm really passionate about this. You can share your big ideas. This is my mechanism. This is my process, da, 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 da. But what people feel more than anything else is who you are underneath the talking, who you are, not here, but here. And that sounds woo-woo, but I'm telling you, the easiest money I've ever made is when I decided that I was going to no longer neglect this part of who I was, and I was going to do the deep work necessary to become what I call energetically attractive, where I'm no longer living from stress, fear, scarcity. I'm no longer trying to pressure people, manipulate them, coerce them into working with me. I had to become detached. There's a whole list of things that I needed to work on. But as I did that, I started to attract people despite not being perfect at marketing, despite not being a world-class copywriter, because people could feel my energy. People could feel the core emotions that I was living out of. And so the question you have to ask yourself is, what core emotion are you living out of right now? When you create a piece of content, is it scarcity that's driving you to create that? Oh my gosh, I need to create a piece of content because my funnel's low, clients are leaving, I'm not making enough money. Or are you creating to like simply help people? Like, I'm creating this video, I couldn't care less if it doesn't generate a single lead for my business. This is a win for me. I hope it helps someone. My emotion is not pure, my emotion is not perfect, but I've been doing the work. And what I'm trying to say is, when you neglect the most important part of you, you can say the right things, you can think the right things, you can be the master copywriter, but at the end of the day, people are going to feel that something is off. They might tell you, this seems good, but like, I'll think about it. But when you really start to do the work, where you no longer need clients, you're no longer desperately trying to cling to like every person in your world, and you are actually an abundant, peaceful, calm, stressless human being, and that takes time, you become magnetic. That authentic frequency starts to incorporate itself in every piece of content, in every video, in every email, because you're no longer creating from the place of need or desperation or scarcity. You're creating from a place of abundance. So these are my big four when it comes to creating authentic content. Number one, this idea of authentic content, I think, is the most important journey that we all need to go on as coaches and creators. If you want to get clients online, if you want to scale to that mythical 7-figure level, I'm telling you, this is the work you have to figure out how to do. You got to figure out, how do you take the real life version of you and translate that online so people get to experience your awesomeness, experience the real you. Number one, North Star. What's your passion? Why are you doing this? Can people sense that it is beyond just making money and generating leads? Number two, it is really about your ethos. What are your beliefs and what are your values that you can incorporate like thread throughout everything you do? Number three, your big ideas. If you were a religious leader, a cult leader, if you were some kind of ascended master and you had a gospel, what would that gospel be? If you were trying to raise up disciples into a message, into a worldview, what exactly is that? And then the fourth thing is your essence. You can say the right things, you can do the work up here, but if you do not do the work here, you will not be able to truly communicate in the way that you want to communicate, because there's going to be a dissonance between who you are in real life and how you're trying to show up online. So I'm hoping this kind of deep topic that we've tried to cover in just a few minutes has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, let me know and we'll chat soon.